Crashes are a good thing. Now, a lot of people associate a crashing real estate, stock market, and overall economy with economic pain, which is true. But crashes are a good thing because they get malinvestment out of the market. So I always like to analogize things. So imagine you have a young kid who wants to start a business, and he has a worm farm, like in Dumb and Dumber. But his worm farm isn't making a lot of money, / zero money. But his dad really believes in him. So his dad keeps investing into his business of selling worms. And the kid is still not making money years later. But the dad just keeps giving him money to keep his business going. But eventually, when that dad says, you know what, it's gone on long enough, I can't keep giving you money, that worm farm's going to crash and burn, just like our economy. But that analogy is just, the dad in that analogy is just like the Fed. The Federal Reserve and the U.S. government, they want to prevent crashes all the time. The crashes naturally happen because people make malinvestments in the stock market. But those malinvestments get way, way worse when the Federal Reserve and the U.S. government get involved. I want you to think about college debt. College debt became the behemoth that it is today because the Federal Reserve came in and distorted the incentives. So people no longer think about the cost of college because they can get a loan. And in the free market, a lot of people would never be able to get those loans. Therefore, the price would go down. Same thing happened in the housing market. Mortgages used to be 7 years, 10 years, and now they're 30. Some people talk about them going to 40 years. And all of that is under the auspices of we're going to make it more affordable for people. It may lower the monthly payment, but it doesn't do that for long. It ends up driving up the price. And so if you have a friend who thinks that the solution to these problems is more government intervention, I think nicely, you should tell them, here's how they've made these problems worse over the years. And in fact, in a free market economy, most of these things would become cheaper. But the government wants to avoid deflation because it drives down their taxes or their tax receipts, etc. But a lot of the solutions that government has come up with have made the problem worse. Now, here's the problem we're at today. It's all kind of coming, in my opinion, to a head because this crash isn't just a malinvestment crash. The levers that kind of tend to soften crashes in the short term, that would be quantitative easing, aka the Federal Reserve going in and buying things on the free market, or stimulus checks, or lowering interest rates. All those levers are kind of broken because we have inflation. So they've made this problem massively bigger than it needed to be. Because if you look back at 2008, the Federal Reserve never really fixed the problem. So they often avoid short-term hardcore pain to make that pain bigger next time. And in the analogy I gave earlier, the business, the more you just pump in malinvestment into that business, the bigger the crash is going to be because below the surface, they're not making any money. So the bigger the business gets, once the free money stops, the harder they fall. And so crashes are actually good. If you're an investor, if you're a person who's smart with money, crashes are a good thing because it clears out all those people who speculated, and you come in with money, actual money, not debt, and you buy up these assets at a discount. But I don't think that people really get that because oftentimes they want the government to come in and fix the problem. They want college to be free, they want housing to be cheaper and all these things. But they don't know that the government actually makes this problem worse. Not better. They make it more expensive and worse. So if you have a friend who's in that camp of government fixing problems, point out to them that they have oftentimes made the problem way worse. So another fun fun thing that's going on is the Federal Reserve has not stopped quantitative easing. They were supposed to stop quantitative easing back on March 9th. And according to the hedge, they just bought $25 billion in mortgage-backed securities to help prop up the stock market. So they typically, if you don't totally understand quantitative easing, basically what it means is if the free market doesn't want to purchase something because it's either overvalued, instead of the price dropping, so the free market would come in and make the cost-benefit analysis and then purchase, the Federal Reserve just comes in and purchases it to keep the demand high. They do that with bonds, they do that with securities. And they're still doing it, and it doesn't, we have the best economy in the world. It's booming. We added more jobs, blah, 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 all the things that politicians say. But it's really not, under the surface, it's really not. And like I said earlier, the Federal Reserve makes the problem bigger when they keep pumping money into businesses and sectors that shouldn't be that high or that profitable. They just keep pumping money in, and it causes this malinvestment. And eventually, when the dad stops giving money, because of, let's say, inflation in this case, the crash is way worse, which is why a lot of people say this crash is going to be biblical. So, I think it's important to understand why crashes are important, and in the free market they often happen, booms and busts. But when a third party comes in, and that third party has a money printer, they make the booms way bigger and the crashes way more painful. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys had a good Easter, and I'll see you in the next one.